I really want to talk about Starfield because this could be a game that steals me away from Skyrim. I have been a Bethesda fan since I was 13 years old, since first playing Fallout 3. Back then I couldn't believe you could have a game where you go wherever you want, do whatever you want, drop this item there, put it on your desk, decorate that sort of madness. And I love that. Now, as a long-time Bethesda gamer, I've played Bethesda games, like I said, since I'm 13 years old.
Thank you so much for joining us
And I'm
today,
going
and
on
welcome to Bethesda.
29.
You know, we
My God. I've been going on since I was 29 years old. And, well, I'm going to be 29 when this game comes out, by a fucking day. And just gave me birth information away, whatever. And, like, it's unbelievable what Starfield's got in store for it. Because as a long-time gamer, when I look back throughout all the Bethesda games to Oblivion, which is as further as I've ever gone, they all feel the same. You get this big open world, you get to explore and run around, do shit tons of quests, and play it your very own way, do your quests in your style, all sorts of different things. And you always either gain something or lose something. Like, I think we actually lost more from Oblivion. But for Oblivion to Skyrim, you gained crafting, but you lost spell making and stuff like that. From Fallout 3, Fallout 3 was from Fallout 3 to Fallout 4, you got crafting and settlement building, and all these games they all feel the same to me. When I look at them, I see this one big map, this quest to do, and then like a DLC that expands the game sort of thing, like Dawnguard for Skyrim and Knights of the Nine for Oblivion, and then always the DLC for DLC islands for all their games. Like you had the Shivering Isles for Oblivion, you had Anchorage and Point Lookout. Yeah, I don't know about Anchorage. But you had Point Lookout for Fallout 3. You had Dragonborn for Skyrim, even though the same sort of DLC for Morrowind, just in a bit of reverse. And what is it? Yeah, I'll see another one. Point Lookout for Fallout 3 and Far Harbor for Fallout 4. They all give you that DLC island sort of experience. So you get to go to an island. And for Oblivion, I think it was Shivering Isles. So they've always kept this sort of feel. They've thrown their games into a circle. And yes, these games change with graphics and performance, but they still somehow feel the same. This interactive sandbox game you get to go into, explore this new world. But with Starfield, it seems to be like it's going to absolutely change the way Bethesda games are played or even seen. To where if you're a Fallout 4 player, you're going to see it as being ancient. It's like how I see Morrowind players. Because Morrowind was an entirely different game to Oblivion. I mean, it was old-fashioned RPG. You had to swing your sword 10 times to get a percentage of actually hitting your target. You had to follow the quest routes. So they said take a left here, take a right there. You had to follow those because there was no markers. You had to listen to what they had to say to you, or you'd get lost and wouldn't be able to find your quest objective. There was no voice, or there was voice acting, but a lot of it wasn't voice acting unless it was from a main or important character. And I see Morrowind as a really old sort of RPG, where these games might be looked on in the future in 5 to 10 more years, or definitely 10 more years, as old RPGs. With Bethesda, they're changing their game. And if Starfield's going from this, they're expanding their horizon, what's the next Elder Scrolls game going to look like? I mean, the idea of it is boiling in my head, because I've been a Bethesda fan since I was 14. I've never played another action role-playing game, or even a role-playing game since. I've never been into them. I mean, I've always just played Skyrim or Fallout or whatever. It's always been my thing. I don't need to get Dragon Age anymore, even though Dragon Age Origins, I played that before I played any Bethesda game, and I fucking love that game. It's crazy to think what's going to happen after Starfield. What's the next Elder Scrolls going to be like? I mean, when they released that trailer a year back showing off like the mountains and the plains, everyone's like, oh, it's going to be in High Rock or Hammerfell because it's sun setting on that side or whatever. That's default of what we think, because we're wondering what province they're going to put us in. What country they're going to put us in. And Todd's always referenced that he'd love to make an Elder Scrolls game in Timrael, but he's never had the technology to do so. But look at Starfield. We're about to get 1,000 planets. And a lot of these are going to be barren and useless and have maybe like AI or like multi-generated random stuff on them. But imagine what the next Elder Scrolls is going to be like. I mean, if this game succeeds in doing what it does, it might even steal me from Skyrim. And I might not even be able to finish my own story series, because I'll just lose myself to playing Starfield. But again, what's the next? Like, what's in the future of Bethesda if this really kicks off? Are we done with the old-fashioned? Here's one map, here's a DLC island, here's a story expansion. Is that all done? And the idea of that is kind of scary, but it's also very exciting because I'm still playing Skyrim and waiting for the big mods beyond Skyrim. Those are the sort of stuff. That's the sort of stuff I'm waiting for, to expand Skyrim, to go into different countries. If Bethesda release a game, even if it's like, I don't think they'd just release one map. I think what they'd do is what the Beyond Skyrim team's doing. It's the Three Kingdoms. They'd have High Rock and Hammerfell in the one game, and then the orcs will take a certain part of themselves for Orsinium. What if they don't even do that? What if they make a game so freaking big it's all of Tamriel? And a lot of it, they could do that. They'd just have to probably handcraft towns and cities, especially cities, and important stuff like that. The game could, they could generate a lot of the open fields and maps and lands and ruins and all that sort of stuff. Maybe not for the places they've already done, because they've already put them in there, but they'd be able to hand place them in this randomly generated world. It's crazy, man, to think about that. To have an Elder Scrolls Tamriel. Like, imagine that, like a full-scale war between the Dominion and the Empire. And it's not just played in a certain small or a certain couple countries or a country. It's played in Tamriel. And the DLC you get is like Akaviri or the Sea Elves Islands or whatever. Like, that to me is crazy, man. Because how big this game's going to be. What's it going to have for the next Elder Scrolls game? Like, I just, it boils my head. I can't think about it. Are they going to return to their roots with the next Elder Scrolls game and just give us a map or two and then do the exact same thing? Because that would be like a massive downgrade. That'd be like going from using a Ferrari to a goddamn, like a Ford. Just a common car. You get this awesome high-end car, and then all of a sudden you've just gone to shit and you've lost it all, and then you're driving around some shit box that's about to break down. So, oh, ignore the ads. My bad. So, like, how is this going to play part in the future of the Elder Scrolls, especially Fallout? Because, again, the technology they had for Skyrim was limited. I mean, if I imagine Skyrim being built today, I'd imagine Skyrim being at least 4 to 5 times the size, the cities being a lot bigger, a lot more dense, filled full of people. That's also another thing, man. Bethesda games, you're used to playing, and while we're inside of a city, you're used to going into a city and everyone's named. Everyone's got a certain job to do. And if you kill them all, they're all dead. The town's, it's a ghost town. It's just run by essential NPCs that can't die and patrolled by guards. But this is crazy because the way they're dealing with NPCs in this game is nuts when it comes to creation and when it comes to, well, immersion. I mean, it's not very immersive going into Whiterun. And it never changes. It's always the exact same people there. There's no travelers, there's no explorers, and they're all named NPCs. And you can't afford to kill them because most of them don't have a replacement. Some NPCs in the game can die, and someone might take over their stand. But again, there's only so much you can do with that. If you kill this replacement, that shop's going to lay empty forever. It's so unimmersive. And the cities in this game are going to have random people that they're going to be presets. Now, by presets, I mean like when you go into a bandit camp in Skyrim and you see the same bandit in different camps, because they run from a pool of presetted NPCs that are already created. They're a levelsless character, so the game will pick a random bandit in that slot and throw it in there, and so you'll see the same face pretty much a lot of the time when it comes to the bandits. This is going to be changing that, as in the NPC is going to be procedurally generated. So the ones that are important to the quest are also going to be handcrafted, but the people that you walk past, the people that you meet on random events or just in through cities that aren't important are going to be procedurally generated. And that's crazy, man. That's something that I've wanted for Skyrim for so long. Like, even like treading NPCs. In Fallout 3 you could hit random and they'd come out looking like a bloated corpse half the time. But every NPC that I have to craft in Skyrim, I have to do it manually or hand-placed, of course. But this time, any person you walk past that isn't an owner of a shop or isn't a situated in-place game character is going to be procedurally generated, and you can even communicate with them. Like, the shop owner's going to stay there probably and just be called a random name. They could die and someone else could take over their job. And then that person could die and someone else could take over their job. And that'd be friggin' amazing. But the people you come across in the stars, on the ships or in the towns or in the space stations, are going to all look different. They're going to look, you know, depending on their faction, but they're going to look different. And that's crazy to me, man, because that's exciting. I don't want to see the exact same face all the time. And I mean, like they're using a lot of procedurally generated tech, and a lot of people are nervous about that. But me, I'm really excited, and I don't know. It's because Skyrim's hand placed. Now I don't know what they use for their official tool. Like it is obviously the creation tool, and the one we get for modders is like a watered down tool. And no doubt they would have had to procedurally generate quite a bit of Skyrim, because it's taken like the modding teams friggin' years to like build the worlds like Sky Oblivion and Beyond Skyrim. But I'm excited for this tech, and I really hope it pays off. I hope that this game isn't built up to be this open galaxy sandbox where it just turns into like an empty piece of shit. But if it does succeed, I imagine that the next Elder Scrolls game is going to be wild. And I'm kind of speculating that they've only showed us a piece of it, like a small little cinematic piece. And everyone's going straight back to default mode and thinking it's going to be in another province. I'm really hoping that it's Tamriel, because Todd has expressed that he wants to do that. And he's also expressed that he won't be around for like probably Elder Scrolls 7, because they do take some time. And he's like, he said he's not getting any old, he's not getting any younger. So his last Elder Scrolls game could be Test 6. And it could be Tamriel. Now, when it comes to that, when it comes to you've been there before, you don't want to visit the same place, or you want to go into an entirely new country and see what that's all about. No. I would rather go back to Skyrim. Say, look, for example, if the game is set 15 years after Skyrim, alright, and I can go to Skyrim, I would love to see what Skyrim looks like after my other characters' events. You know, like, that's the reason I want to go back to Beyond Skyrim Cyrodiil. I want to see what the world looks like 200 years after its events. Like, what are the events of the Champion of Cyrodiil? What's their history there? And also the modern history. I don't care. Like, I would love to explore these places, of course, but what excites me more is going back and seeing the change. Seeing what's changed in this world. That's what really excites me. And I don't know. I'm pretty much rattling right now, but if this game works, if it succeeds like this with procedural generated technology, imagine Fallout and imagine Elder Scrolls. Like, it's going to be freaking nuts, dude. It's going to be nuts. And, like, every Bethesda game since has felt the same, and you look back in the past, it feels the same. So this game could be a turning point for Bethesda games from now on in, where it's not just one country to visit or one place. It's multiple, or it's a lot, or it's all that you know of. And who knows, man, in 30 more years, they might literally make a Fallout, America. Fallout this and that, where you get to explore all different places that are procedurally generated, but in terms of where they've got technology, or they can procedurally generate it properly, or it's not just completely random, but it's staged. Like, they might have a grid book or something like a plan of DC or the Washington when it was back in like 1989 or whatever, and completely generated on a gaming scale. It's just crazy because again, NPC creation is what I love to do in my game. I've created a lot of characters. I've turned a lot of them into followers, and a lot of them into playable characters. And this right here, man, is awesome. Like, oh man, the ability to come across the crafted NPC. Now, I like playing with big armies, right? I haven't gotten to this part of my story yet, but when the Civil War comes up, I'm like running into battles with like, say, 30 to 40 NPCs, either Imperial or Stormcloak, depending on the character, and I love going into big battles. But a lot of those NPCs I go with, I craft. I have to make them. The ability to go inside of an inn, or a space station, or a pub, or find someone out in the world that's in danger, and help them, and have them follow me, that will look completely random, someone that I won't have to mess around with or touch, and they can become a follower, a part of my unit. Dude, that is freaking nuts to me, man. And I'm going to absolutely fall in love with that. Not having to open up the creation kit and make 15 NPCs. Because when they die, it sucks because I created them. That god complex. It's like, man, fuck. These guys are going to be randomly generated. And I'm going to love that. And especially with Fallout 4, the console commands, you could actually open up show looks menu for NPCs and you could change them. So if someone comes in and they're looking pretty scraggy looking and they finally join your unit, you're able to use the console commands to open them up and change the way they look. Give them a new haircut, give them a new beard, take the dirt off their face, take the whatever the hell you want. And that to me is freaking crazy. Like, man, with mods of course that come out in the future, I'll have my own fleet. I'll have a shit ton of like people that I've recruited, and most likely all of them either aren't part of the official companion line or will not be created by me. They'll just be random people that were created into the game that I'll pick up. And again, when I start a new game, I'll probably never ever see their looks again because it was a one-time thing. Maybe I can save their preset with a mod that will come out like race menu or looks menu, and I'll be able to save their preset and add it to another NPC that I come across in a different save. But it's exciting, and I fear that I'm going to lose myself to this game. Like, honestly, I see my, like, looking around, it doesn't look like a Bethesda game. Like, there's just so many random useless NPCs that it's not really a Bethesda thing. You go inside a Whiterun, everyone there's got a job, everyone's got a place. There's no useless NPCs. Well, there's useless ones, but someone that you could just... it's hard to explain. Like, you walk into a space station, or you say, let's go to real life. You walk into a train station, see all these people there. They've got their own things to do. And then you come back the next day and entirely different group of people. And that's adding the life sandbox to the game, where you're not going to come to the space station and see the exact same person every single day. You're not going to go into the market stand and see the exact same person every day. And I love that concept of making the galaxy feel a lot more alive than it is static, because a lot of Bethesda games can be static in the department of NPCs. And I'm just really excited for it, man. Like, I'm going to be creating fleets and shit, stealing a lot of ships, building outposts on maybe beautiful planets or very dangerously spooky planets that no one's ever going to want to go to, and just watching mods, just watching people make cities or gigantic utopias in these planets that are going to be barren when they come out. And I'm going to be loving this, man, because of course Bethesda aren't going to give you the ability to say take 100 followers with you. They've still got that whole single system to where you're going to have either one follower or one companion. Companions are going to be a lot more personal in Starfield, where followers are going to be just sort of like Skyrim's versions, where they're going to be a lot more universal. So you help them out, they follow you, they die. The companions will be probably immortal, and they'll have romance and more personality. A bit like Serana. She is a bit more of a companion in Skyrim than, say, the Executioner in Solitude. You help out and he follows you, and then he could die or something like that. And I just imagine myself building a massive fleet and maybe shaping a ship like a penis and calling it the D-Wing. And when it explodes, all the Navy soldiers, which will be ranked as seamen. So, yeah, and I don't know what I'm going to... Like, honestly, I could lose myself this game and never pick Skyrim up again. And that kind of worries me, man, because I've been playing this game since it came out, since I was 17 years old. And I'll be going on 29 when this game finally comes out. And it's a bit spooky to think, will this be the game that steals me away from Skyrim? Like Skyrim stole me away from Oblivion? Because I think I was playing Oblivion for like 3 years. And it very well could be. Now, I play Skyrim, like I've said before, for the ability to run around and eventually one day explore the other countries with mods like Beyond Skyrim. And honestly, if they haven't done that by the time Elder Scrolls 6 comes out, and even if they have, and I hear that Elder Scrolls 6 has all of Tamriel in it, I would most likely drop Skyrim in a heartbeat. I'd most likely go back to it as soon as it came out, like, you know, after a month or so, because of the mods, you know, and Skyrim are, you know, going to be a lot better than anything Bethesda could release day one. But, oh man, I'm worried this game will probably steal me away, and I want to finish my own friggin' story series. I don't like leaving things undone. So, and these things can take me a while, this story series. So, I'm going to get to another video on that right after this, but I'm going to stop it here because I think I've run out of things to say, and I don't know if I can really talk about anything else. I think I've gotten through it all. Yeah, so this game's going to be blowing your Bethesda, your standard Bethesda feeling out of the window. Bethesda games aren't going to feel the same after this, and if they do, it might be a bit disappointing. You know, going from this to then the next Elder Scrolls game that might feel just like Skyrim, but a lot more graphically handsome, better performance. But anyway, that's for another video. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. If you if you agree or disagree or whatever, you've got this far, let me know, because it's good having conversations and hearing other different opinions from other gamers across the world and all that sort of stuff. So anyway, I want to get out of your hair. If you're bald, tough luck. Have a good one.